Who has the best livery in 2026? Who do you think will win? Let's find out. Welcome to the Racer Roundtable, and welcome to the F1 2026 livery ranking. So in 11th place is Cadillac, and just like their car's pace, they're in last place. And it's true because it rhymes, if you exclude Aston Martin, because they're going through it right now. The split design that they have is bold and different, that's for sure. But aside from that, to me, it seems basic. To me, it just seems basic and maybe a bit too corporate. I don't know how to describe that. But they're in last place for me for sure. In 10th place is Audi. And I think I'm okay with the colours. Maybe the silver could have been a different colour. Maybe similar to the LMP1 cars. And they could have also separated themselves from Mercedes a bit, even though Mercedes use black as much, if not more, than the silver. But the structure of the colour scheme isn't to my taste. The colours are fine, but the red block is just there. They could have created a pattern or combined it with the black, but they didn't really do that. But I do like the way they've incorporated the red with the side pod inlets and the logo and the airbox. I think that's a nice touch and different to the other teams, but I just don't like the way it's just blocked there, like just a red block and a black block there, and the rest of the car is silver. I just personally don't like that. And it could be that Audi didn't want to be too adventurous for their first livery, and also this livery is pretty much the same as the concept livery that they had, so there wasn't any change, if any, or much at all. So that's my reasoning as to why Audi are in 10th. So do you agree with my first two rankings? Let me know in the comments below, and also don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Next up in 9th place we have Williams, and Williams have had an underwhelming start to the 2026 season, with their car being overweight and having balance issues and mechanical issues, and Albon crashing out in qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. But in terms of the livery, I do like the shade of blue, and I obviously like their famous incorporation of the Duracell sponsor on the airbox. But the side pod sponsorship arrangement is on and off for me. Sometimes I don't mind it, then other times I'm like, it just looks a bit off. Is it necessary to be designed that way? You know, I think it's just me, but the rest of the car looks decent, and Williams finally sort of settled on an identity after years of having different color schemes for different reasons, whether it's sponsors, whether it's like starting a new era, or whatever the case may be. And you may think it's a bit harsh to put Williams 9th, mainly due to the side pod sponsorship, but that's where I'm going to put them. In 8th place, we have Aston Martin, and this one for me is simple. I like the green, I like the black front wing. I preferred it when the cars had an all green side pod. I think they added the black portion onto the side pod last year where the Aramco logo is, and it's not a deal breaker. It's almost like the Williams side pod look, but I would prefer it if it were a seamless all green side pod look. I also don't mind the blue on the rear wing at all, so this livery is an 8th as it gets the job done and it's nothing too special, too extraordinary. And speaking of getting the job done, in 7th we have McLaren. I like the livery. Quite a few people don't like it and they find it boring and plain, but me personally, I like it. Combining papaya with black, the team now has a consistent identity that isn't tied to a sponsor like West or Vodafone. Not to say that those liveries weren't iconic or good, but it is good to see McLaren have their own identity that's nothing to do with a sponsor and go back to its roots and keeps it. On the front wing, the MasterCard logo, speaking of sponsors, is a nice fit with the overall look of the car, color-wise. It's like a seamless look. And it's not a livery that screams anything wild, but it gets the job done. In 6th, we have Red Bull, and they may not be having the best of seasons with Max threatening to leave F1 again, but I do think their livery is decent. They've finally updated it and gone away from the matte finish, which was very nice. It was a nice livery, but it had become old by last year, maybe a few years before that even. And they've gone back to a glossy or shiny finish with their graphic, and they had a shiny finish for quite a few years before they went to the matte look in 2016. So yeah, I really like the livery. I think it's a great choice. I also like the gradient on the rear of the engine cover where the driver number is. I think that's a nice touch. And just like how Pierre Gasly beat Max Verstappen in the Japanese Grand Prix, Alpine are in 5th place ahead of the Red Bull livery. I might be in the minority, but I like the blue and pink. I don't think it's as good as the 22 or the 23 livery, but I still like it. A majority pink nose and the blue complementing it and the black accents for me is nice. And the shade of blue is the best thing about the livery. It's a very nice shade of blue. And I don't think the livery is as good as the first Alpine livery in 2021 because that's a classy look. But this is a good compromise considering it's only looking like this because of the BWT sponsorship and how they love to acquire the teams they sponsor to have a lot of pink on the car. So in fourth place, we have Mercedes. And this year's design is very nice. It's a clean, smooth and classy look. I remember when the livery was revealed and they showed the top-down angle and the side pod design was the main talking point. People were trying to figure out what does it mean? Is it to do with Adidas? Is there like a hidden meaning behind it? And for me personally, I think it gives a good transition from the silver to the black. It gives that transition a smoother feel. And not having the red from the in-ear sponsorship is also a good, as it doesn't ruin or disrupt the cohesiveness of the design of the silver, the black, the turquoise. So overall, I think it's a solid livery, but it's not quite enough to make it onto the podium. In third place, we have Racing Bulls, and you can't go wrong with the white livery they introduced last year. They've pretty much kept it. It's slightly different, but it looks so good. It looks so good. The white with the yellow and the blue is chef's kiss along with the black. And definitely to me, looks better than the Red Bull livery and just works well. It stands out and you know that's a Racing Bull. Going into second place, it's Ferrari. They've produced a much better livery than last year. I don't think it's as good as the 24 livery, but it is much better than last year's livery for sure. It's a simple, classic looking livery with only 3 main colours. Red, of course, is a Ferrari. The black and the white. And the white is the main thing because last year, the white wasn't really incorporated well because of the whole HP sponsorship thing. I guess to create that sort of contrast. But I think it's been incorporated much better this year. It's more cohesive. And, you know, the white was the main issue for last year. Whereas this year, you're not really hearing people say anything much about that portion of the livery. And obviously, a Ferrari with a black front and black rear wing is always a dub. It's always going to work well. And you can never go wrong. And if it wasn't for the HP sponsorship, having the Ferrari text on the rear wing would have been much better. And the livery would be even better than it is right now. And the pinstripe that runs from the cockpit to the engine cover is a nice touch. And it's just a cohesive livery that works well. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a throwback to the liveries I had in the 70s as well. So, Ferrari are in second. Racing Bulls are in third. I've mentioned all the other teams. And there's just one left. And that team is a team that's never won a race on track, but has won this year's livery competition. And as you've probably guessed by now, it is Haas. This is a clean livery. This is a crisp livery. And perhaps by far is the best livery on the grid for me, for sure. And who do you think should have been in first place? Do you think Haas should have been much lower down? Do you think I'm correct in putting Haas in first place? Let me know your thoughts. But for me, the Haas livery is unquestionably number one. The white does all the talking and the red and the black just enhances that. And this is definitely Haas's best livery to date. And I really like the way the Gazoo Racing GR is implemented on the engine cover. It's just a clean, seamless look. And Toyota's sponsorship has not only given Haas more financial power and resources, it has also given us the best livery on the grid this season, in my opinion, and is the undefeated winner and is number one in 2026. So there we are. That's the 2026 F1 livery ranking. Haas are the winners of the Racing Roundtable F1 Livery Award and will have to defend that title next year. Let me know your thoughts on my rankings. What is your personal ranking? Did you think I was harsh with some of the placements? And which rankings did you actually agree with? Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next video and see you in the 2027 livery ranking, where we will see if Haas are able to defend the title or if any of the other teams are able to claim that crown. See you in the next video. Goodbye.